Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading a Kafka Listener by me. So let's get into it. You have always admired the way Kafka moves through life, like a dancer on a stage, where she alone knows the choreography. Every step, every word, every glance is deliberate, wrapped in an aura of elegance and control. It's part of what drew you to her in the first place. That effortless grace that she carries herself with, even in the midst of chaos. Today, though, that grace seems a little bit more distant. She's been busy, caught up in the web of her missions, always one step ahead, always working. It's the nature of who she is, and you've accepted that. But sometimes acceptance alone is not enough to quell the longing that builds up inside of you. A quiet ache that only she could soothe. You find her in the cockpit, her fingers dancing over the controls, as she navigates the starship that you are boarding. She doesn't notice you at first, too engrossed in whatever task she is completing. You stand there for a moment, just watching, taking in the sight of her, the way the soft light of the control panels casts shadows over her sharp features, the way her eyes narrow slightly in concentration. Kafka? You call out softly, stepping closer. Your voice is gentle, almost hesitant, as if you're afraid to break the spell that surrounds her. How about you take a break? She glances up, her gaze meeting yours, and for a moment the intensity in her eyes fades, replaced by a softness reserved just for you. What's the matter, darling? Missing me already? Her tone is teasing, but there is an underlying warmth to it, a hint of affection that she doesn't bother to hide. You walk up to her, your hands finding their way to her shoulders as you lean in, resting your chin on the top of her head. The scent of her hair, that subtle mix of something sweet and dangerous, fills your senses, and you can't help but sigh. You've been working all day. I wanted myself for a while. And you feel, rather than see the smile that tugs at her lips. Clingy today, aren't we? She remarks, amusement lacing her words. Can you blame me? You shift slightly, your arm slipping down to encircle her waist as you press closer. It feels like I haven't seen you in forever. Kafka hums thoughtfully, her hands moving away from the controls to rest over yours. Her touch light but reassuring. Forever, I did not realize my absence had such an effect on you. You huff, a soft sound of protest that earns a chuckle from her. Don't laugh at me. I'm serious. I miss you when you're gone. And I'm right here, she says, her voice softening as she turns slightly in your embrace, her cheek brushing against yours. You have me now. Isn't that enough? It is, you admit, though the longing in your voice betrays the depth of your feelings. But I want more. I want all of you. Every moment you can give me with you, every touch and every word. I want to drown in you, Kafka. She tilts her head to the side, her eyes widening in slight amusement, and her lips brushing against the curve of your jaw, in a gesture so tender it sends shivers down your spine. You're insatiable, but I suppose that's part of why I love you. Your heart skips a beat at the admission, even though you've heard it before. Every time she says it, it feels like the first time, a reaffirmation of the bond that ties you together. A promise that no matter how far she goes, she will always return to you. Say it again. You plead, your voice barely more than a breath. You're not sure why you need to hear it so badly, but in this moment, it feels like that's the only thing that matters. I love you, she repeats, the words slipping from her lips like a bow. I always have, and I always will. There is something in the way that she says it that eases the ache inside of you, that fills the void that her absence left behind. It's as if the universe itself shifts to accommodate the weight of those three little words, as if everything that came before was simply leading up to this very moment. You close your eyes, savoring the feel of her in your arms, the sound of her voice, the steady rhythm of her heartbeat beneath your fingers. I love you too, you whisper, pressing a kiss to the side of her neck. More than you'll ever know. She turns in your arms, finally pulling away from the controls to face you fully. There is a glint in her eyes that speaks of mischief, but also something deeper, an affection that she doesn't always show, but that you've come to recognize in the way she looks at you. I suppose I can take a break, she concedes, her hands finding their way to her waist as she pulls you even closer, but only because you asked so nicely. You smile, leaning in to press a soft kiss to her lips, and then she holds you in her arms, running her fingers through your hair. And eventually, the two of you find yourself staying like that for a moment, gazing outside the huge window at the stars and the galaxies, as she is just holding you close. Stay with me, you whisper, your voice trembling slightly with the intensity of your emotions, just for a little while longer. I'm not going anywhere, she promises, her hands cupping your face as she looks into your eyes. I'm right here, with you, always. And in that moment you believe her, because no matter where the universe takes you, no matter how far she goes, you know she will always come right back to you.